Welcome students, welcome back again, and we are continuing here the unit electromagnetic induction and alternating current. In the previous class we have studied about the concept of electromagnetic induction, and after that we have understood the concept of Faraday's laws, very important rules related to the production of electric current through the magnet in the process of electromagnetic induction. So after that we have studied about the concept of self induction also. Over there we have studied that electromagnetic induction takes place within the coil itself. Now one more form of electromagnetic induction we have that we have to study. So let's start that, and the topic is mutual induction. Here the term induction refers to the same term electromagnetic induction, but mutual induction, it refers to the process of electromagnetic induction between two coils which are linked mutually. So that's why we call this as mutual induction, where there will be two coils. We will have two coils. First coil is treated as primary coil, in short PC. Secondary coil is treated as secondary coil, SC. And this time we have property of two coils, due to which one coil will have change in strength of current, and that change in strength of current will create change in magnetic flux in primary coil, that must be linked with the secondary coil. So that change in flux of primary coil will cause change in flux of secondary coil. Secondary coil, due to change in flux, will create induced EMF, and we know that according to Lenz law, it always opposes the cause responsible for its production. So the induced EMF developed in secondary coil, or this coil, will oppose the change in magnitude of current passing through the first coil, and hence the two coils are mutually linked and opposing the strength of current by the process of electromagnetic induction. We call this as mutual induction. Let's see what is going on here. First of all, we will close this key K, due to which some current will pass through this, and suppose this current is having the nature of increasing value with the help of this rheostat. So we know that there will be self induction going on this individual coil, but right now we are not dealing with that. So here the current enters, so this will be south, this will be north. Magnetic field lines will be passing from primary coil to secondary coil, and the number of magnetic field lines of primary coil will depend on this current. Due to change in this current, the flux from primary coil and hence with secondary coil will change, and that change in magnetic flux will cause induced EMF. Induced EMF will develop in such a direction. Here induced EMF is developed in this way. This will cause change in position of the needle of the galvanometer, means galvanometer shows deflection. So current develops, induced current in this way, current coming out of this end, so it will be treated as north, this will be treated as south, and this is because of 0 to some value. So this n will have increasing form, this n will oppose the value of n, and hence in this way it will oppose the increasing value of current. So property of two coils, it is basically the property of two coils, primary and secondary. Property of two coils, due to which one coil opposes this secondary coil. Here one coil means this one is secondary coil, opposes any change. Here in place of one coil we can write secondary coil also. So in which secondary coil opposes any change in strength of current flowing through other coil, means primary coil, by inducing an EMF in itself, means in secondary coil. So this time induced EMF will be developed in secondary coil, but opposition is provided to change in current in primary coil. So two coils are linked here, that's why we call this electromagnetic induction, in short induction, as mutual induction. So the property, and now how much they are creating this property, that will be calculated with the help of this coefficient of mutual induction, also known as mutual inductance. So for this, let us consider certain factors we will consider here, like n1 is number of turns in primary coil, N2 is the number of turns in secondary coil, and I is current in primary coil. Now we consider phi as flux per turn of each coil. We are assuming that there is no loss of flux while passing from primary to secondary. So we have taken phi as flux per turn for each coil, and clearly it is observed or it is found that in the same way as we have discussed in case of self-induction. So here it is found that the total flux in primary coil will be proportional to total flux in primary coil, or in secondary coil also will be proportional to current in here we can consider induced EMF will be developed in secondary coil. So total flux in secondary coil is proportional to current, magnitude of current in primary coil. So total flux of secondary coil will be N2 phi proportional to I, or here we can write N2 phi equals to constant with I and the term M. Here the formula is N2 phi by I. This is called coefficient of mutual induction, or we can call this as mutual inductance. So this is the formula using which we can find the expression for induced EMF also. So for that we are considering according to Faraday's second law. We are using Faraday's second law. So induced EMF E, it will be induced EMF, this is in secondary coil, E is minus N d phi by dt, where N is of N2. So minus of d by dt of N2 phi, we have taken it inside, and N2 phi is equals to Mi. We can use it as first equation. So using first equation, we can have the value of N2 phi as Mi. So E is equals to minus d by dt of Mi, or M taking outside minus M di by dt. So from this we can have the value of mutual inductance M is equals to minus E upon di by dt. This is the expression for coefficient of mutual induction, and for definition we know this, how to define it. If di by dt is equals to 1 ampere per second, then M will be equivalent to minus E, means coefficient of mutual induction is numerically equal to induced EMF in secondary coil when rate of change of current is unit in primary coil. So in this way we can define the value of M, and after definition we can write the SI unit also. Till the time you can note down the relation. So continuing with the definition, from this formula only we are giving the definition according to which when di by dt is equals to 1 ampere per second in primary coil, then M will be equal to minus of E. E is the induced EMF in secondary coil. So mutual inductance is numerically equal to induced EMF in secondary coil when rate of change of current is unit or 1 ampere per second in primary coil. So in the same way, using the same form, we can give the SI unit for the term. M is N2 phi by I. N2 is unitless. So for phi it is Weber. For current it is ampere. So Weber per ampere, also known as Henry, denoted by capital H. The same unit we have used for self-inductance also. Then the dimensional formula. Formula for M is N2 phi by I. N2 is dimensionless even. Phi is B into A. So N2 as usual. B we have taken as F upon QV. A is at the same place, current is at same place. So removing this N2 because it has no dimension, we will have for force MLT minus 2, for area it is L2, for charge it is AT, for velocity LT minus 1, and for current A. So adjusting the expression, we will have L and L as cancelled factor, T minus 1 and T is also cancelled. So A and A becomes A2 in denominator, and here ML2 T minus 2 A minus 2. So ML2 T minus 2 A minus 2 is the dimensional formula for coefficient of mutual induction as well as for self-inductance also. So dimensional formula and definition, you can note down the relation also. So coming to the next part of this topic, we are going to study about coefficient of mutual induction for two coaxial solenoids, the same way we have discussed the coefficient of self induction for the long solenoid. So here we have two coils, one is black one as a solenoid carrying current I and number of turns N1, then blue coil is overwounded over the primary coil. Here this black one is primary coil, and this blue one we are treating as secondary coil. So current is passing in primary coil having length L. Even the two coils have length L. Number of turns in primary coil is N1. For secondary coil it is N2. Area of the two coils is A, and magnetic field in the primary coil is passing from is developing from south pole to north pole inside the coil. And because the secondary coil is wounded over the primary coil, so same magnetic field or flux will be used for secondary coil. Condition we have taken, N1 is the number of turns in primary coil, N2 for secondary coil. Current in primary is I, and phi is the flux per turn in each the coil. So here, using the first equation, we have already, it is found that we can use the direct form N2 phi proportional to I or equals to Mi, or M equals to N2 phi by I. So here the value of phi, that means magnetic flux. Now magnetic flux in primary coil or secondary coil, for both the coils it will be same. So magnetic flux is B vector and A vector in dot product. We have already discussed this in starting of this unit. So expanding VA cos theta, here theta is the area angle between magnetic field and area vector, both are in same direction, so angle will be 0, so it is BA. So putting the value of magnetic field in primary coil, that is mu naught N1 A upon mu naught Ni upon L. This is the expression for magnetic field. This formula we have already calculated in application of Ampere circuital law in the previous unit. So B value is calculated, putting the value of A, putting this expression in first equation. So putting in equation 1, and we get what we get here. We get M is equals to N2 by I multiplied by mu naught N1 I A upon L. So cancelling this I, we can have the value of M as mu naught N1 N2 A upon L, and clearly here M is depending on medium, M is depending on number of turns of the two coils, M is directly proportional to area, and M is inversely proportional to length. So these factors are there which are giving information from the formula, and in place of n square, which we get the formula for coefficient of self induction for long solenoid, over there it was n square A by L. Now this time two coils, so in place of n square we have n1 n2 both. So in this way we can use the expression, and this could be the derivation in the paper also. Now if we need to apply the same formula for from air core to iron, this will be the factor which will change. So for note, for air core coil, for air core coil it is M is equals to mu naught N1 N2 A by L. So we can treat it as M naught. For iron core coil or coils, because two coils are there, it will be M mu R, then mu naught N1 N2 A by L, and the expression in the bracket is M naught M. So clearly M upon M naught is equals to mu R, which is much greater than 1, nearby 1000, 2000, 5000 value it is there, especially depending upon the type of ferromagnetic material. So this will tell us that on inserting the iron rod or any ferromagnetic material, the ability of mutual inductance will increase. So this is the relation. You can note down this derivation. So now we have the next term related to mutual induction, that is called coefficient of coupling, denoted by K, a factor which will tell us how much amount of flux of primary coil is passing through secondary coil basically. So we can say that it is a factor which measures the depth of coupling between the primary coil and the secondary coil in terms of magnetic flux. This can be understood easily in the form of different position of primary and secondary coil. So case 1 we have like this: primary coil, secondary coil, they are placed in this way. When current passes through this primary coil, the flux amount passing through the secondary coil will be the minimum amount. So certain coupling factor will be there as K1. Then another case, primary coil and secondary coil are placed coaxially. Coaxial means they have same axis. So again current passes through primary coil. In this way, comparatively more flux of primary coil will pass through secondary coil, and hence we have coupling K2, and obviously the value of K2 will be greater than K1. And last one, which we uses mainly where the primary and secondary coil are overwounded with respect to each other, and in this, when primary coil is having certain value of current, the equal amount of flux passing from primary will be equivalent to that through secondary coil. So here the coupling is K3 and it is furthermore as compared to K2 and K1, and hence clearly we can say that K1 is least, K2 is greater, and K3 is the maximum. Now the relationship for this K, we can give one formula. The value of K can be the form of M upon under root L1 L2, where M stands for coefficient of mutual induction of the two coils. L1 is coefficient of self induction of primary coil, and L2 is coefficient of self induction of secondary coil. So clearly the value of this K, it will be lesser than or equal to 1, which means suppose for example if the value of K is given as 0.7 lesser than 1, then it means K percentage will be 70%, means the 70% flux of primary coil will be passing through secondary coil. So sometimes question may be asked in this form, that the value of K, if the value of K is 0.7, what does this mean? So you can say that the 0.7 means 70% of the flux of primary coil is passing through secondary coil, and this factor K, coefficient of coupling, plays very important role in the process of mutual induction wherever it is required. So you can note down this also. And now coming to the very important application of mutual induction, and this is transformer. Very important device for the point of examination also. The device which is used to increase or decrease the alternating voltage or current. The current which we receive in our domestic supply, that is of alternating nature. Later on we will discuss this in detail in the next chapter, but here we know this: the current is that current which changes its value continuously and also changes its direction periodically. So sometimes this current we need in much higher value, or sometimes we need it in lower value. Similarly in case of voltage also. So to change the value of voltage or current according to need, this is done with the help of this device, transformer. So transformer, this is a device, or it is a device which is used to increase or decrease the alternating voltage or current. How, that we will discuss in the working. Before that, principle of the device is, because it is the application of mutual induction, so it is based on mutual induction only. There are two types of the transformer. One is step up. Here it is called up, means increase, so it increases the alternating voltage. Similarly step down, so for down means it is decreases, so it decreases the alternating voltage. And how it is made up of, because it is based on mutual induction, so there must be two coils, primary coil and secondary coil. This these two parallel lines here, they are representing special arrangement called laminated iron core, and why it is used, that also we will discuss later. In primary coil, number of turns is N1. In secondary coil, number of turns is N2. And clearly for this step up transformer, number of turns N1 is lesser and number of turns N2 is greater. Secondary coil has greater number of turns as compared to primary. In step down, N1 number of turns in primary is higher and N2 in secondary is lower. So N1 is greater than N2, we can say. Also we can treat it like N primary greater than N secondary, or here N primary lesser than N secondary. So this is the form of representation. Now the construction that we have already shown in the figure, that there are two primary coil and secondary coil in the form of copper coils which are wounded over laminated iron core. Input AC is applied across primary and output is obtained through secondary coil with the help of a load resistance. And this is the diagram, basic diagram. Laminated iron core in the form of cubical block or cuboidal block. There is primary coil in the form of copper coil where input AC is applied. This is the symbol of AC. And secondary coil is having load resistance. Load resistance means any device or resistance through which the obtained is through which we obtain the output, or we can say the device which we uses actually for the given desired value of alternating voltage or current. So this is the basic arrangement. If you feel this diagram to make as complicated, you can draw its alternative form also, in which we can have primary coil in this way, then laminated iron core, and then secondary coil in this way. So you can draw in this form also if you feel it is difficult to draw. Here this is primary coil, this is secondary coil, laminated iron core in the form of lamination, and here we apply input AC, and here we get through load resistance RL as output in the form of increased voltage or decreased voltage. That will depend on the type of transformer. Now we have to discuss how this transformer works. So for that you can first of all note down the relation, then we will discuss the working. So let's start the working of transformer, and here we have laminated iron core over which primary coil in the form of copper coil, secondary coil in the form of copper coil, again they are wounded. Secondary coil is connected with load resistance RL, primary coil is attached with the input AC. So input AC is that current which continuously changes its value while passing through the coil. So if there is change in the current, there must be self induction which will going on here and will produce induced EMF. That induced EMF will produce flux through the secondary coil, and that flux which is changing because of alternating nature of the current will create induced EMF in secondary coil also, and that change in production of induced EMF or induced current will be obtained across load resistance RL with the help of phenomena of mutual induction. So we have considered NP as number of turns in primary coil. This time we are treating it in the form of P and S. So NS is also the number of turns in secondary coil. Phi is flux per turn of each coil. So according to Faraday's second law, induced EMF, we know this as E is equals to minus N d phi by dt. Therefore induced EMF in primary coil, if we treat it as EP, it must be minus NP d phi by dt, and this is equation number 1. And induced EMF in secondary coil, this must be ES minus NS d phi by dt, and this is taken as second equation. Now if we take the ratio of the two, second by first, second equation by first equation, we will get ES upon EP, d phi by dt will be cancelled, minus will be cancelled, and hence it will be equal to NS upon NP, which is also known as K, and here the K means transformation ratio, the factor which will tell us how much times the value of applied induced EMF from the primary coil to the secondary coil changed, that we will calculate with the help of K. And using this relation now for step up transformer, if we consider it for a step up transformer, clearly the value of, since the value of Ns is greater than Np, this we all know that Ns is greater than Np. So if numerator is greater, denominator is lesser, so in this way, this side also Es must be greater and Ep must be lesser. So therefore Es is greater than Ep, and hence in step up, output voltage from secondary is greater than the input voltage from primary. So for step down again, step down transformer, we have because Ns is lesser than Np, so clearly Es must be lesser than Ep. So because number of turns in secondary is lesser in primary as compared to in primary, so EMF across secondary, that means output voltage is lesser than the input voltage, that is Ep, EMF across primary. So using this relation, clearly we have mentioned that transformer is a device which changes the alternating voltage. Along with this, it changes the current also. For that, let us assume Ip is current in primary coil and Is is current in secondary coil, and at 100% efficiency we are assuming, although it is not possible to be this 100% efficiency for the device, but we are assuming if it is so, then power input and power output will be equal. So the formula for power is voltage into current. So for input it will be E primary, I primary, and for power output it must be E secondary, I secondary. From this, if we make the relation, we will have Ip upon Is. Is is brought in the denominator, so Ep will go in the denominator of Es in this way. And clearly here secondary upon primary, but here secondary upon primary, but primary upon secondary, interchange. So interchange relation we will get, since for step up first, for step up transformer, if we consider this step up transformer, we will have relation Es greater than Ep, Es is greater than Ep, this numerator is greater, so Ip must be greater, Ip is greater than Is, or we can say Is is lesser than Ip. Means for step up, when voltage increases, then current decreases. This is the important relation. Then for step down transformer, it is again because Es is lesser than Ep, Es is lesser than Ep, so the value of Es is lesser, so Ip must be lesser, and it means Is greater. So clearly we can say that hence in transformer, if voltage increases, then current decreases in same ratio, and vice versa. But the value of I into E, or voltage into current, will remain constant as power remains constant. Here the value of power will not change, but the product E and I will change accordingly. The factors in product E and I, they will change accordingly in such a way that if E increases, then I decreases, if E decreases, then I increases. So this is the important working which will be very important with respect to the board examination also. So you can note down this relation also. So with this we have completed the working of transformer, very important device for this year, and you must focus over this. It's working you should know very well. You should practice for this, and then only you will be able to make it properly in your examination. Now few some other terms are related with this transformer, like efficiency, certain losses of energy are there, and some applications are there. So few things are also there, so let's see to them also. So here we have completed the working of transformer, in which we have understood about the concept of step up as well as step down transformer. Here the step up transformer is the transformer with primary coil with lesser number of turns, in secondary coil greater number of turns, ns is greater than np, and hence transformation ratio k, this k is greater than 1, and hence es is greater than ep, but is is lesser than ip. Similarly, in case of step down transformer, in primary number of turns is more, secondary is having lesser number of turns, and hence ns lesser than np, that means k is lesser than 1, transformation ratio is less than 1, so es is lesser than ep, but is is greater than ip. Now this transformer has certain losses of energy that we should know. What are these? Let's discuss them. Number one is copper loss. Copper loss is the loss of energy in the form of heat which is produced because of the resistance of the copper windings of primary and secondary coils whenever current flows through them. Although these coils which are made up of copper, they have resistance R, so some heat will be produced when current passes through these, I square RT, and that causes loss of energy. We can reduce these loss of energy by reducing the resistance, and this can be done by using thick wires of windings. If we use thick wires in making these coils primary and secondary, we can reduce loss of energy. Number two is flux loss. In actual practice, the transformer coupling, that means coefficient of coupling between primary and secondary, is not so perfect, and hence certain loss of energy is there, and that loss of energy is in the form of flux loss. Although we can reduce it by arranging in coils in such a way that their coefficient of coupling increases. For that we can use overwinding of these coils one over the other, and also by using iron as a core material which has tendency to attract flux towards it. So linking can be maximized by winding the coils over one another, also by using core material in the form of iron. Then coming to next, iron loss. Here we have certain energy loss in the form of across the iron in two forms. Number one is eddy current losses. Eddy current losses means whenever there is changing magnetic flux linked with the iron core, eddy current will be set up in the metal part, and hence it will produce heat energy, and hence the energy is wasted. So this can also be reduced by reducing the eddy currents by using laminated iron core instead of solid block, where laminated portion will split up the magnitude of eddy current, and hence its strength reduces. Here we can see in the solid core material, the eddy currents are collectively formed, while in the laminated form they are splitted, and hence their strength reduces. Number two loss is hysteresis loss. This is the loss of energy when we have repeated cycle of magnetization and demagnetization, and this happens again because the current we uses here is alternating current which has two cycles, positive and negative. One positive cycle of the input AC causes magnetization of the iron core, while the negative cycle in reverse direction of the current creates demagnetization of the iron core, and hence cycle of magnetization and demagnetization takes place, which causes hysteresis loss in the form of energy. This can also be minimized by using suitable material which has less value of hysteresis loop, and that is the iron material we are using, which has lesser value of hysteresis loss, and hence hysteresis loss can be reduced. The last one is the loss of energy due to the vibration of the core material. This is known as magnetostriction. This is called magnetostriction effect, in which the plates of this core material starts vibrating and causes humming noise, which also causes loss of energy, and hence the efficiency of the device reduces. The efficiency is basically eta, output power, divided by input power. Output power is voltage into current in secondary coil, ESIS, and input power is EPIP. If we need to represent this efficiency in percentage, it will be ESIS by EPIP multiplied by 100%, and its value will be 1 or 100% for ideal transformer if it is not given in the question about the efficiency. So for ideal transformer we uses eta as 100%, otherwise value is always less than 100% because of these energy losses which we have discussed here. So if we need to note down these losses, you can note down this one. And this one also by pausing this video. Then these losses we have already discussed, and hence the efficiency. So coming to the uses of transformer, we have certain uses. The most important use is in transmission of AC over long distances with negligible loss of energy, as step-up transformers are used at the power stations where the electric energy is produced, and hence at the power stations using a step-up transformer, current is greatly reduced by increasing the voltage, and hence line power loss in the form of I square R is reduced. Then another one is in the form of induction furnace and in voltage regulators. We uses transformers of a small size, and also the step down transformer is used for welding machine. If you have observed the welding machine, it is nothing but a transformer, a step down transformer which reduces the voltage but increases the current. It increases the current to a great extent so that heat produced in the connection as I square RT is quite high, which causes melting of the metal parts, and hence the welding takes place. So with this we have completed this first chapter, and you can note down this by pausing the video. So this is all about transformer, and with this we have completed the concept of this electromagnetic induction. One topic is left over there in the form of AC generator, that we have to discuss further in this chapter. After that this chapter will be completed, and that we will complete in our next class. So we will meet in next class. Till then, take care. Goodbye.